Have you ever felt that, that constant push to get more success, more stuff, more status, but it just leaves you feeling kind of empty? Well, today we're going to dive into this really profound and honestly counterintuitive idea called kenosis. It's a concept that basically flips everything we think we know about power and purpose right on its head. Just think about this for a second. We spend so much of our lives trying to accumulate, to achieve, to just hold on tight. But what if the real strength, the real purpose we're all looking for, isn't found in gaining things, but in giving them away? Not in being full, but in becoming empty. And that's where this word comes in, kenosis. It's an old Greek word, and it literally means to empty. But listen, this isn't about being vacant or meaningless. No, this is a very specific kind of emptying. It's a conscious choice to pour yourself out in service to someone else. So you're probably thinking, how can emptying yourself be powerful? I mean, it sounds like weakness, right? It sounds like loss. But as we're about to see, sometimes surrendering our grip is the most powerful thing we can do, the thing that truly connects us. To really wrap our heads around this, we're going to start with the most extreme example you can possibly imagine. This comes from William Paul Young's novel, The Shack. It's the story of a divine, limitless being choosing to become, well, limited. The thing that just blows my mind here is the word chose. Imagine a being that is, by its very nature, completely unlimited, and it chooses to become fully human, to take on all the limits that you and I deal with every day. So the big question is, why? Why would something all-powerful choose to limit itself? The book gives us this really beautiful way to think about it. Imagine a bird. Its very nature is to fly, to soar. But what if that bird freely chose to only ever walk on the ground? It doesn't stop being a bird, right? But its whole experience of life is fundamentally different. This self-limitation isn't about losing who you are. It's about radically changing how you express it. And right here, this is the why. This is the whole point. It's about relationships. See, a real relationship is never about power or being superior. It's about service. By choosing to be limited, you create the space for a genuine connection, one that's not built on dominance, but on love and respect. Okay, so that divine example is pretty huge. But how does this whole emptying out thing actually play out in our own messy, complicated lives? Let's take a look at how this idea shows up in the human experience. So we've got this really powerful story from Archbishop Rembert Weekland. He went through a massive public scandal, a moment that just stripped him of everything. His reputation, his position. This was a kind of emptying that wasn't chosen. It was forced on him. And you can just feel the weight of it in his own words. I mean, it's painful, it's raw. This isn't some poetic, romantic idea of being empty. This is that gut-wrenching feeling of loss, of shame, of being completely and totally hollowed out. But then, something incredible happens. A total transformation. That exact same state of being empty-handed shifts from being a symbol of his shame to a posture of radical acceptance. It becomes this willingness to embrace his own flawed humanity, and, this is the key, to be ready to receive something new. The emptiness actually created an opening. We see this same transformative power, this embracing of brokenness, pop up again in a totally different place. In Neil White's memoir, In the Sanctuary of Outcasts, he's locked up in a federal prison that also happens to house the last leprosy colony in the continental U.S. I mean, he is literally surrounded by society's most rejected people. He talks about one of the other inmates, a man with Hansen's disease, and how his disfigured hand became this profound symbol for him. He saw it not as something ugly or lacking, but as something broken and beautiful, all at the same time. And in that visible brokenness, he started to find a totally new understanding of what is sacred. So, if this emptiness can actually lead to transformation and reveal a new kind of beauty, what is it for? Is it just a void, or does it have a purpose? A writer named Carol Hauslander gives us some amazing metaphors to think about this. This is Hauslander's big idea, and it's brilliant. She says emptiness isn't formless. It's actually like a vessel. Its very shape is defined by what it's meant to hold. And our job, I guess, is to figure out the unique shape of our own emptiness. So, what shape could our emptiness be? Hauslander asks, What if we're like reed pipes? Just imagine that for a second, being hollowed out, shaped, even pierced, not to be broken, but so that a song, something beautiful and totally unexpected, can be played right through us. Or what if we're like chalices, formed from precious metal that's been beaten and shaped by life, made empty for one specific reason, to be filled with something sacred, and then poured out as an offering for others?
Or maybe we're like nests, a space that's been carefully woven together from all the little bits and pieces of our lives. It's defined by its round, warm emptiness, and it's created for one purpose only: to nurture and protect another. It's about becoming a safe place for someone else to land.
Now, here's the really hopeful part. Houselander points out that no matter what has filled up our lives, our anxieties, our ambitions, our fears, what she calls broken glass and rubbish, we can clear it out. We can actually empty the nest and rediscover what it was meant for in the first place. Okay, so how do we take this huge idea of kenosis and actually apply it? Because it's not always about these big, dramatic gestures. More often than not, it's found in the small, everyday stuff, as this one simple parable shows us. So there's a woodsman, and he's on a quest to find the perfect tree, like the ultimate expression of treeness. He gets to the gate of this majestic, primal forest, and it's locked. And right there, next to the gate, is this pathetic, crooked, scrubby little pine tree. And he just dismisses it completely. Of course he does. So after failing to get through the gate, he finally gives up and sits down. And for the first time, he starts to truly see the little pine, to love it for its own crooked, humble self. And the second he does that, the gate bursts open, and a voice says this: the path to greatness wasn't through the big and the perfect. It was through embracing the small, the overlooked, the imperfect.
And this brings us to Karl Hauslander's final, and I think most crucial point. We have this tendency to think of the spiritual life as something separate from our real lives. Praying, meditating, doing pious things. But she argues that true union with the divine, this act of emptying ourselves for others, happens in the ordinary. It happens when we're earning a living, cleaning the house, caring for our families. That is the holy work.
So, I guess that leaves all of us with a question, a really personal one. What are you clinging to so tightly? Is it your pride, your plans, your image of yourself? And what new life, what new song, what new purpose might be waiting to fill that space if you were just willing to open your hands and let it go?